Welcome to r/entitled people, where we share stories from your lives about people who think the rules don't apply to them, and they should get what they want. Thank you, friends, for subscribing to the channel, and for so many likes. And today we have 3 great stories, so subscribe, hit the like button, and let's begin. The first story, the glass room quitting method. The second story, Karen's arrogance knows no bounds. The third story, boss lost the entire night shift at once. The first story is how to make employees quit their job without having to fire them. Let's face it, no CEO or manager likes to fire people. At the least, it's uncomfortable, and in other circumstances, it can be downright emotional. Employees have their bills to pay and often families to support, and rarely take kindly to losing their livelihood. Managers frequently face a whole host of undesirable issues when firing employees. From dramatic scenes in the office to even being sued for dismissals, these complications take up valuable time and resources, which you could be spending elsewhere in your business. But don't give up. There is a solution. I'm about to share with you the way one innovative company has figured out how to get employees to resign on their own, so they can avoid the stress of letting them go. Simply repeat the steps from the method I'll describe to you and see your business flourish as you get rid of employees hassle-free. Let's dive right in. In 2007, I started working for a big Australian engineering company in Perth, Australia. This company had about 8,000 employees spread across over 50 offices around the globe. The headquarters were located in CBD on Adelaide Terrace, and my department was on the 8th floor. Now this company had a great slogan: People, Clients, Management. In an internal PR move I'm sure will be familiar to many of you, this company had an induction program where employees were told they were the biggest assets of the company, and every success the company enjoyed was built on a foundation of mutual respect. After about 8 months with the company, I received my first performance report, and it was excellent. Then one day the section manager was promoted to department manager, and was replaced by a relative of the branch manager. It became clear pretty quickly that the new manager did not like me, to put it mildly. Over the next few months, he would make derogatory remarks about me and especially my appearance. This got progressively more intense until one day, on the way to a client, he threatened to kill me. I decided to go to HR. Now I know what you're thinking. This is the part where things get tedious, with endless rounds of politically correct HR people having meetings and trying to iron out difficulties. Things that are a pain for many companies not interested in problem employees. But stick with me, you're gonna like where this goes, I promise. The HR manager, a guy by the name of Todd, reacted with surprise to my complaint, informing me that everyone had a high opinion of this man, and I was the first one to complain. I knew this was not true, and other colleagues had also complained before me. But I kept quiet and Todd promised to investigate. After a week, I'd heard nothing from him. Then the new manager who I'd complained about saw me in the corridor and told me, "I heard you went to HR. I effing hate snitches." I went straight to Todd again. He said, "There's not much I can do. He's a close relative of the branch manager." So I talked to the branch manager and he said I should quit if I didn't like it there. I reminded him of the slogan of the company: Client, People, Management. But I got nowhere. I decided to file an official complaint, and Todd said he would do that with me the next day. In the morning, Todd told me that if I still wanted to file an official complaint, some things were going to change in my work routine. I said I didn't understand what he meant, to which he replied I would find out the next day. I filed the complaint. Now, thank you for sticking with me and continuing to read. Here's the part you've been waiting for. Introducing the glass room quitting method, TM. The next morning, Todd came to my desk and said management wanted to relocate me to another desk. The 8th floor where we worked from was an open space area with 1.5 meter high cubicles. It had 3 meeting rooms, 2 large and 1 small, full glazed one in the middle of the office floor. The small meeting room was about 3 meters by 3 meters. In it was a table, 4 chairs, and a phone. Todd asked me to follow him. When I started packing my workstation, pens and other stuff, he said, "Leave everything here. Just come with me." We went to the small meeting room. He took 3 chairs out and left the last one, then asked me to sit down. Then he said, "From now on, you'll work from here. You'll wait until your manager comes and tells you what to do." He left the room, taking the phone as he went. So there I was, sitting in a completely empty, fully glazed room at an empty table. Of course, the manager never came to tell me what I was supposed to do. I just sat there, hour after hour, with nothing to do but be bored and humiliated. Todd would come in every morning and ask me if I wanted to resign. When I said no, he simply said I would have to continue to sit there and wait till the manager came and told me what to do. This went on for a week and I slowly started feeling like I was going crazy. I sat every day in the fully transparent glass room like a monkey in the zoo having nothing to do. You might wonder if my colleagues said anything about it. Later, I was told that they had received an email saying I was going to work from the meeting room on a project for a new client. They, of course, knew that wasn't exactly right, and something was wrong. But fear or embarrassment and not wanting to rock the boat meant they simply kept their heads down and busied about doing their tasks, trying not to look at me. The week after, I decided to go to a lawyer. You might be worried now that this ingenious solution would reach a sticking point here, and the company would be forced to stop treating me this way. But think again. I was told that from a legal point of view, the company was not doing anything wrong. If they simply fired me, I would have a case. But as long as they didn't, I had no chance. So I resigned. Some weeks later, I met an older ex-colleague of mine by chance in a cafe. He had worked for the company for over 10 years. He told me the glass room method was common there. He remembered that the longest someone managed to sit there and do nothing was 3 weeks, till he willingly resigned. So there you have it, the glass room method for getting your employees to quit so you don't have to go to the trouble of firing them. Reading your story left me in shock and bewilderment at the disgraceful treatment of you by management. It is unacceptable and unfair that you were made to endure such humiliation and stress in the workplace. Your decision to contact a lawyer and protect your rights is the right and courageous step. You deserve respect for your determination to prevent this type of treatment and to stand up for yourself. What a pity that this didn't help. It seems to me that there should be a separate law for such situations. This is just a different kind of torture. Methods such as the glass room, used by some companies to force employees to resign, are an example of immoral behavior and manipulation of employees. Your story highlights the importance of protecting workers' rights and the need to combat such bad practices in the business world. I don't know how long I could hold out in such conditions, but definitely less than you. Glad you got out of there. Good luck finding a job with a company that respects its employees. The second story is entitled Karen Wants to Use My Wheelchair at Antique Store. Cast, me, myself, and I. Nels, old man, though he doesn't speak. Harriet, Karen. My husband and I rent a display space in an antique consignment store for our collective side hustles. I quilt and crochet. My husband sells custom die-cast cars and diorama supplies. Every few weeks we go in and restock our space. This store is very large and can be a bit of a maze. And the store has designated rest stops throughout the aisles. One's across from our space. The store does not provide mobility aids for customers, so it's a BYO policy if you need a walker or wheelchair. I'm in a wheelchair user as I'm paralyzed from an L2 SCI. My husband and I were at the store restocking the space. My husband had just left to take one of our totes to our van, leaving me in our space sorting through my tote that the baby sets I make. When I hear someone huffing behind me, I didn't really pay too much attention to it, thinking that someone might have been taking a break at the rest stop. I was just finishing laying out my sets on the table in our space when the person at the rest stop decided to talk to me. Do you know if the store has wheelchairs for people to use? I look up from my task and see an elderly couple across from our space. The old man is standing next to the bench, looking kinda annoyed, while the woman is flopped on the bench in an I can't take another step kinda way. I honestly was concerned that she might have been having a medical issues as she was rather plump. Are you okay? I ask, about to tell her or her partner to use the phone above the bench to reach the staff desk for help. This store is too effing big, Harriet exclaims. I can't walk anymore. Me. The store has a chair for medevac use. One of the employees could bring it to you if you need help leaving. Harriet. But we're not done shopping. Me. I don't think they have wheelchairs to borrow. They have had issues with rowdy kids riding mobility scooters, so they do not provide them. But if you use the phone above you, you can ask a staff member. Just dial 1 and it'll connect you to the staff desk. There's a sign next to the said phone that states this. Harriet seems to be thinking about her options, so I go about my work. Nels wandered down the aisle, possibly looking for an escape route. Harriet, what about the wheelchair you're sitting in? Me, this is my personal wheelchair. Doesn't belong to the store. Harriet, can I borrow it? Me, what? Surely she's not asking to take my chair to go shopping. Harriet, I want to use the wheelchair. You're young enough that you could stand to walk for a bit. I'll bring it back. Me, ma'am, I can't stand at all. I've been a paraplegic since I was 12. This wheelchair is not store issued. It's my personal property that cost a lot of money. If you call the staff, maybe they can let you use the medical chair, or maybe they know of someone who has the space that you can buy. But I'll not give you my chair and I cannot help you. At this point, I've rolled out of our space. I decided to head towards the vendor door and just leave. Rumor has it Harriet is still sitting on the bench waiting for someone to give her a wheelchair. This story has caused confusion and shock with its incredible turn of events. I don't understand how Karen had the courage to ask you for a favor to use your individual wheelchair. Obviously, this goes beyond decent conduct and morality. You made a very cool remark to her, and respect you for protecting your rights and not allowing others to use your personal property. Your answer was absolutely correct. Surprisingly, Karen even had the idea that this could be considered acceptable. The fact that she's unaware of your difficult situation and does not recognize the boundaries set by other people is a clear indication of her unpleasant character. Your decision to leave the situation was reasonable and understandable, given the inconvenience and absurdity of the situation. My sincere wish is that Karen will eventually accept her mistake and acquire the ability to respect the privacy and property of others. But it's probably impossible. Nothing can change such people. The third story is Overnight Shift Showdown. I was a shift manager at IHOP. I managed the overnight shift and the new GM repeatedly disrespected me. I'm home asleep during the day, because I work at night. He would call me to tell me some stupid SH, or say I need to come in earlier or ask me to work a double, or if someone called out and needed emergency help. Well, after months of mistreatment inside the job, I had a really bad night. My entire shift was only 3 people total. Me working as a server, to-go, hostess, bagger, dishwasher, and prepper for the next shift. 2 cooks that worked on alternative days. Anyway, we had a super bad night. Way too many customers. We told them 1 hour wait and everyone would get super mad just because we told them that. The seats appeared empty, yes, but it's because we had way too many people. Parties of 6 and 8 all wanting to come in at once. Plus online orders that are rolling in because everyone else is closed. Then people coming in and ordering to go. Literally every customer ever for months has been angry and cussing because it takes too long. We don't have anyone on our shift because the GM claims we don't need the help. Well, things got so bad that day that I called the GM for some help. That's his job, Diet. No answer. I call AGM. No answer. So I called GM one more time, and if he didn't answer, I was going to do what I'm not allowed to do, and that's close the doors to all dine-in and to-go, and only do the already paid-for online orders. Well, he didn't answer, and so that's what I did. I dealt with customers being peeved we were closed, and also did all the duties and even stayed late, because I was so beyond behind. GM rolls in about 10. I was supposed to leave at 6, guys. But I can't until another manager comes in. He takes me to the office to hand over the bank, which is just the drawer to the register, and then he tells me I can't have that happen again. Calling me in the middle of the night like that, it's unacceptable. You're a manager and should be able to problem solve on your own. I cut him off because I was tired of the BS and said, yeah, you're right. I'll start solving my problem by handing in a formal letter of my 2 weeks notice. Then as I stood up to leave, better yet, I'll just leave now and pretend my 2 weeks ended today. My loyal 2 cooks were actually there this day. One stayed with me to make sure I go home safely. I had no vehicle. And the other came in to unload the truck for extra cash. They overheard me say I was leaving, and just like that, one cook threw his hat in the trash and said, F it, I'm out too. Disrespectful a-hole. And the other said, yeah, I can get a better job. I stayed because she was a good manager. So just like that, you lost your whole overnight staff. To this day, he's suffering with customer complaints. An incredible pleasure to read this story. What a wonderful turn of events. Your boss finally got what he deserved. After months of his disrespectful attitude, you all were finally able to be free of that unpleasant job. And what a heroic move to leave him without an entire night shift. Let him now face the problems he created with his own ignorance and indifference to employees. A real lesson for him. I hope you enjoyed these stories. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.